The WNBA announcing its first ever capital raise and the largest ever for a women's sports property. Nike, longtime strategic partner of the WNBA, making a, quote, significant equity investment. Investors also include Michael Dell, Condoleezza Rice, Karen Fineman, Lauren Powell-Jobs, and Joe Tsai. Join us right now to discuss what this means for the future of the league is WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Also, WNBA legend Swin Cash, who is also an investor. Good morning to you both. Congratulations. Cathy, this is the first time you have done this and taken outside money. What led to it, and what are you planning to do with it?
Well, Andrew, thanks for having us on this morning. This is a significant moment for the WNBA. We're trying to fuel the next stage of growth for us. Having a great group of strategic investors and outside investors step up and believe in the future of the WNBA. And like Nike, like you mentioned, Michael and Susan Dell, Secretary Rice, some of the existing WNBA and NBA owners you see on the list, and of course, our former legend, Swin Cash. So we've all seen the reports that less than 5% of all sports media coverage and less than 1% of all sponsorship dollars go to women's sports. So access to this capital, as you know, Andrew, when you're trying to grow a business, is really going to help us move the needle.
And when you think about growing the business, what does that look like? Swin, and I'm curious, when you think about the league, obviously the players unions was wanted to increase the number of teams. There's obviously the marketing side of it. What are you hoping this all looks like 5 years from now?
What I'm hoping it looks like 5 years from now is a sustainable future. I think that Cathy has an amazing vision. I think the women of the WNBA and the WNBPA are, hand in hand, lock and step, and want to move this league forward. I hope that in 5 years, my niece, who is now in high school, can be dreaming and thinking about her opportunity in the WNBA. So that's why it's important for me not only to be an investor in this, but for people to see outside investors are great, and that's important. But the women who have also helped build this league, it's important for us to stand alongside this next generation.
Cathy, what do you plan on doing with the money? What will that money enable you to do with the NBA? And how do you view these outside investors? Are they shareholders in effect? Are they giving you input on what you should be doing?
Yeah, the outside investors are strategic, absolutely input advisors, get a different look about how the landscape is changing around whether it's media, around whether it's how the corporate sponsors will come in and support the women. And really where we're going to use this money, use of proceeds, is we have so much opportunity to globalize the game, expansion. We have opportunity to kind of blow up our digital footprint and think about what direct-to-consumer means, as all sports properties are thinking about that. So it's really a lot of growth initiatives, sports betting, innovation, optical tracking. So there's a lot of things we're going to use this capital for, and really ultimately marketing our stars into household names both here in the U.S. and globally, and ultimately building those rivalries, making our compelling content something to watch and something not to miss.
Well, Cathy and Swin, I think that's the central question, which is what is the tipping point? Obviously, oftentimes basketball or any sport, men get compared to women, and the question in the game of basketball is how do you get the women's league to effectively get, I wouldn't even say parity, close to parity in terms of just even the mind share of the public. What you think that ultimately requires, and do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I absolutely think it's possible. And again, we're not trying to necessarily compare ourselves to leagues that have been around 75, 100, 105 years. We just had our 25th anniversary. So what we're trying to do is grow and get an economic model, as Swin said, that is sustainable for the future, and that the next 25 years of the WNBA look very different, is a growth phase for us. And that's what these investors are buying into and seeing the vision for, is this is a growth property. It is a real sports and entertainment property. And coming from a long career in business, when I came in, I said, we're not being treated like a real business. And that's what we're trying to affect now with this access to capital.